It's one thing to get scammed out of some money on a guitar or it gets broken in shipping, but it's a whole nother thing to lose a customer. This is going to be the saddest unboxing that we'll ever do on this channel. Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Yeah, it's kind of a sad story today. So, no, I'm not talking losing a customer like we had a falling out. We're talking actually losing a customer. So, here's the story. Back in early May, I had somebody commission a few private help sessions. Looks like it was May 21st and again on June 1st. That's something that I offer on my website. And I kind of got to know the guy because he was kind of doing like this weird project. Like somebody had this weird wrap on the guitar. He was asking, should I take it off? Would it be worth more if I just let it be as is? So he ended up actually taking that off and then finding something really strange underneath that. But that's not what this is all about. Because after his private help sessions on June 9th, he had reached out to me and said, hey, I would love to get one of those new Baritone Cabronitas that you just talked about in your new video because Fender had just released all that. And he was really interested in purchasing my review piece if I was going to do one. And I said, well, I've got quite a few people, wanting that review piece of this cool guitar. But nobody's actually came through with payment, so yes, it is still available. And as you'll see here, this is the second time I've unboxed this one. I had it all packed up and everything, so something has apparently gone wrong with this transaction. Went ahead and sent payment to me on June 9th to get my review piece, and Fender ended up sending this about a month later, because it was around July 3rd that I ended up posting this. And normally what I do is after I do the video, I let them know, hey, the guitar, it's been reviewed, here's the link if you would like to take a look at it, but I'm ready to ship. Can I have your shipping address now? But then the most peculiar thing happened. The email came back to me, not as undeliverable, but the email box was full. I have never run into that, so I was quickly Googling, can a mailbox be full? And yeah, apparently they can, but most accounts have such a large storage rate, most people never run into that. So I was like, okay, that's a little bit strange, but maybe he'll figure that out within a day or so, because he'll be like, hey, I wonder why nobody's emailing me anymore. Because I tried a few more times after that thinking, oh, maybe it's just some sort of an error. But no, it wasn't an error. So I gave it 5 days, emailed him on July 8th. Nothing. Same thing, came back as email box full. It's like, oh man, and surely this guy will realize that his mailbox is full. Because I looked up his PayPal transactions from both those private help sessions and from where the payment came from on this one, and it had two different addresses. So I was like, ah, man, I don't want to just send it to a random address that it might not actually be where he's at, because, some people are quarantined in less than usual locations right now. So I decided just to hold out until I could hear from him. So I gave him a couple of weeks this time. It was July 22nd, and I got that same message box full thing. So it's like, what is going on here? Maybe I can look this guy up, because he introduced himself on this page as a PhD, so he's like a doctor of some sort. So I Google his name. Sure enough, I find a Facebook profile. And you can never be sure, because there's a bunch of people that have the same names, but he just happened to have posted one of my videos on his Facebook page. And that was on June 18th. So it's like, okay, so he's been active about a month ago. So that's how I knew I had the right guy. But then I saw the most recent post and my heart just sank. It was so sad reading this news. Apparently he died. They didn't advertise, how he died, if it was, related to the pandemic or anything like that. But his niece had access to his Facebook account and left a message that said that he had passed away. Anybody that has any questions can contact her. It was basically just to let all of his friends and family know that he is no longer with us. So I was like, oh man, that hits me right in the feels. The last thing he shared on his Facebook page was my Slash video. I just feel so bad. So Charles, you're no longer with us. You were featured on the channel, so I hope you can rest in peace, man. So I reached out to his niece and I asked them, do you guys want this guitar? Because it's all paid for, it's technically his. So I'm going to be sending it off to her mom, and I'm not sure if they're just gonna sell it or if they're gonna keep it with his collection of other guitars. But I mean, it rightfully belongs within his family, so hopefully somebody gets some enjoyment out of this. It just kind of stinks because in one of his messages he was like, I'm really excited to get a guitar that you've torn apart. So I figured the least I could do was feature him and his story on the channel. Well, that's my sad story. It doesn't feel right to take a sponsor on this episode. So let's go ahead and just unbox this real quick. It's nothing you guys will really be interested in, but it's something I purchased just to make my life a little bit easier on the editing side. Apparently, I've been a dum-dum this entire time, and I've been putting the footage on my computer and then editing it with it on my computer. And apparently that's not what you're supposed to do. There's my candy. I was getting worried for a second. So I purchased myself one of these professional external hard drives. That way all my footage can go on this, and then it's not bogging my computer down. So maybe that'll make my life a little bit easier. We'll give this thing a try anyways. But geez, 8 terabytes of storage. That's crazy. My computer only has 500 gigabytes. So that's 16 times. So maybe I can actually afford to keep some of my B-roll instead of just, ripping it off of my YouTube videos and downloading them whenever I need it. But hey, let's unbox this one now. This is actually a consignment piece, so I wanted to make sure I unbox this as soon as I could so we can get it sold, hopefully, before the reverb fees go up. I just automatically started quoting the 18% price now, because that's how much it's going to be to consign with me, 18 plus 150. Which, it's starting to get kind of high, unfortunately. Let's see what beautiful guitar we have to market today. Looks like we have an aftermarket hard shell case. I think I was kind of expecting a regular hard shell, so that might hurt our resale. Just a hair. That's a TKL case. They're usually pretty good as long as the fit is nice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th back latch. TKL makes most of the Gibson cases. Whoa. That is a color. I was not expecting that. Okay, so this is a Les Paul Standard Faded that's been given the Larry Corsa treatment. So in my Les Paul Standard Faded reviews and demos, I think I've done 2 of them, both the 50s neck and the 60s neck. So this one does not need redocumented by any means. But I would always talk about how many people would send them to the Larry Corsa and he would, do the Peter Green mod to them. And that is exactly what has happened to this one. I mean, look at that color. It's like a really bright, vibrant orange. I've never seen that before, and then it moves into that yellow color. And you've got that upside down neck pickup. I wonder if they actually reversed the magnets or not. I would assume so. And we've got the 2 different knobs on here like he was known for. So reflectors on the bottom and the regular top hat style on top. But man, I don't know if this is coming through on the camera. I mean, this is one of the most active tops I've seen on these fadeds. Because normally, since these are satin finished guitars, they don't move as much. But this one has so much figuring to it. That's really cool. So standard faded, wow. This one even has a flamed back. This is a really nice example. Not quite a flamed neck, but a little bit going on there. But this thing is actually really clean. So let's go ahead and check out what has been done to this. So Corsa Conversions by Larry Corsa. So this one's a 2005, let's verify that. Yep, so that means this is a first year standard faded. It's not one of the ones that's been chambered out, so that's full weight. This is the most desirable one. And it says it's a 50s neck. Yes, but you gotta remember, 50s on this style of guitar, it's not like big baseball bat, it's just rounded instead of being super thin. They're really not that different, to be honest. So it looks like our pickups are the Manalishi pickups. And do we have fancy electronics in here? Yes, we do. We at least have one push-pull pot there. So that should be the in and out of phase. And it looks like all of our parts were upgraded on this one. So we've got Faber parts, that's a locking bridge and tailpiece. And the tailpiece is also lightweight aluminum. Ooh, they even did the tuners? Wow, those do look nice. Normally, like these modern day tuners, they're kind of that greenish tint. This has that aged look. Those are pretty good. Oh, I didn't even notice that. It says Faber on the back. That just looked like the regular Gibson style, but they've definitely nailed those. So if you're looking for a vintage replacement single ring double line Clusen style tuner, maybe check out the Fabers. It looks like that one was completed not too long ago, 3/18/2020. So cool, you can check this one out on my Reverb shop if you're interested in being the next owner of it. Check out this fretboard, that's really dark. I know it feels like I'm just saying a lot of stuff on this guitar to kind of talk it up, but I'm honestly really impressed with this particular example. Because the standard fadeds, I mean, they sound great and they play great, but with all the upgrades made to this one, I think it's gonna make somebody very happy. That's just some sort of top on here. Well, since we said hello to a new consignment piece, I guess it only makes sense that we send out the last consignment piece that came in here. Besides those melody makers anyways, this was one from a couple of months ago, a refinished early 70s Les Paul Custom. Kind of a cool guitar. We took it on the workbench, tore it apart. I told you all the good and bad and ugly of this one. And hopefully its new home will actually keep it around for a while, because this one's been kind of passed around a few times. And to be honest, I don't think most of those places were that honest with all these modifications, like with that tailpiece being moved up. But it was definitely an inexpensive way to get an early 70s Les Paul, as these things are normally $3 to $4 grand, sometimes even higher, whereas this one was an even $2. So let's go ahead and get it packed up. One of my last Epiphones. I think I only have maybe, 3 or 4 more Epiphone guitars planned to review, and then I'm hoping Epiphone guitars just kind of takes a break, because I really want to get back to, some of my used Gibson guitars and things like that. But this was the Epiphone Uptown Cat, and kind of a fun story. The person who bought this, he got it because his main guitar is a 1980 Gibson CRR Country Rock Regular. Those are kind of interesting guitars, and he was just saying that he wanted something kind of similar to that, but a little bit different just to have within his arsenal. That way he doesn't wear the frets out of that thing so quickly. So this was definitely a fun guitar. Definitely check one out on the used market in a couple of years. I mean, these will be a fantastic value around $450. I mean, even if you're paying retail prices now just to get it before everyone else, it's still worth it if you're into this style of guitar. But I definitely had fun checking this one out, but let's go ahead and get it packed up. Ah, man, somebody bought it. They bought my Mojo Jojo guitar. I mean, it was one thing to say goodbye to the Powerpuff Girls one, because that was the one I initially wanted. This was just kind of like something I would like to find one day, but wasn't necessarily super hunting it down. But ever since I started talking about these, the Powerpuff Girls guitars, they've been popping up on eBay, Reverb, quite consistently now. I've seen at least 5 or 6 of them, and they eventually sell. But I have not seen a single other Mojo Jojo pop up. So this is definitely the more rare one, and, a little bit more usable than the other ones. Simply because, hey, it's a full-size instrument, it's got 2 pickups, you could easily upgrade one of these things and actually, gig with it. So in that aspect, this thing is really cool, but it's got to go to its new home now. But it was definitely fun to get to check these out and document them in a review and demo. So check that video out if you happen to have missed it. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning into this boxing and unboxing episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. Oh, and we also need to pick a winner of one of these wallets. This is one I noticed a lot of people weren't doing, marking their comment US, so I doubt we'll have that many entries, maybe like 100 or so? Yeah, 143. Let's find our winner. Congratulations.